as the ISM increases. If the ISM reaches its typical cycle peak, which is between 56 and 65, this type of Bitcoin race will result in considerably higher prices, and that will tell us how much Bitcoin has increased. How high the ISM will rise this cycle is still a mystery to us. However, those are high Bitcoin values if it rises beyond 60. That's more than 300,000, possibly more. However, that being said, there will be a ton of amazing trading opportunities for you guys that will enable you to earn millions of dollars if you take full advantage of these market opportunities, particularly with XRP, which is expected to perform significantly better than almost every other digital asset in the top 100 today. Having said that, I want you all to pay close attention to the conclusion because I'm going to give you some amazing advice that will help you make the most of this. But before we do that, let's listen to Raoul, who has a lot of new knowledge and fascinating things to tell us all here today. Press the like button to ensure that everyone sees it, and then let's start watching the movie. Additionally, the way you build your portfolio. According to me, 35% of pullbacks are normal, and you tell me, oh my God, the portfolio has dropped 80%. The reason for this is that you are not adhering to the don't fuck up thesis, which states that you should only hold a tiny portion of your portfolio in smaller tokens. Julian and I developed this graphic to show the global M2 in dollars with a 10-week lead over Bitcoin. Since we had a similar setup in global M2 during the previous Trump campaign in 2017, we were unsure if it would proceed exactly as planned. And as a result, cryptocurrency fell 35% in a week before gradually rising again with CHOP. I wasn't certain if we would follow this trend with the entire sell-off or if we would go off course during that time. After a while, we went sideways for ourselves, and the sale proceeded notwithstanding. It is absolutely on the same course as global M2. What it's telling you is that last year's tighter financial conditions were caused by both rates rising in expectation of tariffs and the dollar appreciating in anticipation of Trump. That's what's happening right now. That now reverses if you look at the chart moving forward. Indeed, there will be a chop period. We will be identifying the low points in this area, and I will elaborate on that in a moment. After a time of chop, we begin to climb back up the opposite side. So you don't need to worry about it. A component of the game is volatility. You don't get the 150% or higher returns on the upside if there isn't any volatility on the downside. So the major daddy of all of this is financial situations. Additionally, the 3-month and 3-month rates of change in Bitcoin are influenced by the state of the economy, which is 3 months ahead. Financial conditions were obviously terrible due to the dollar and exchange rates from the previous year. That has now been completely priced into Bitcoin. Thus, we are at the current price point. Then, could it chop along the bottom until the financial conditions begin to reflect the rally? Maybe. Due to their strong correlation, it is also clear that this and the global M2 chart are quite similar. I only wish to present it to you in a different manner. The following chart is the subject of much discussion. Economic data is coming out weak, indicating an impending economic slowdown. It is indeed. And last year, the dollar was the driving force. Once more, the dollar's strength from the previous year is contributing to economic decline. Everyone wants the currency to be weaker because of this. In order to boost, China wants the dollar to decline. They have a frantic need to excite. There are many dollar debts in the world. To pay off their debts, they require a declining value of the dollar. To export goods, the United States needs the dollar to be weaker. A weakened dollar is necessary for the global economy. First, however, we will observe that the U.S. economy is becoming weaker as a result of the dollar's events from the previous year. After then, things will begin to shift once more. Additionally, the economic cycle will accelerate. As a result of the worse economic data, rates will most likely also drop. This supports our belief that the financial situation will improve in the future. Thus, it's still constructing a stronger argument. No, a recession is not likely to occur. What foolish all that discourse is. Data on the economy will first deteriorate and then improve. But for us, everything is fine. It's true that tech stocks are a little concerned about slower growth. But once more, we can see that recovery is imminent when we use the technique to look ahead. Now, we saw a lot of the same things when Trump took office the last time around in 2017. Because the dollar had appreciated in expectation of Trump's inauguration, economic surprises plunged. Even while the Fed was rising rates, that eventually turned around, and the economic cycle picked up significantly while the dollar declined significantly, which fueled a very substantial cryptocurrency and risk cycle. In this case, the most important factor is the state of the world economy, which may be influenced by the US, China, or Europe. Either one or all of these economic powers could be involved. Therefore, we're already observing that mechanisms like the dollar-yen are beginning to move much more when the dollar declines. Since the Japanese banking system is the foundation of the euro-dollar system, the dollar-yen is now extremely essential. They are the ones who lend dollars to the world economy, which gives them access to China and enables it to pay off its dollar debts. Additionally, China can weaken its current, i.e. stimulate more vigorously if the dollar declines. Trillions of dollars in quantitative easing are required to support the bankrupt real estate industry as well as other non-performing loan segments. That's all there is to it. The dollar is quite similar now than it was back then. At the time, Trump claimed that the dollar was too powerful. His and Scott Bessent's discussions about the long end of rates have already taken place. In order to get tariffs in place, they will first utilize the dollar as a negotiating tool with the Chinese, Europeans, Canadians, and Mexicans. They will provide a weaker dollar in return, which benefits everyone. After that, we could all proceed with the global economy, which ought to be robust. The rear end of rates, such as rates for 10 years, and so forth. That will also benefit you all since it will reduce your mortgages and corporate borrowings, which will increase everyone's income and spur economic expansion. All of this is yet to come. They have stated unequivocally that's their goal. This cycle was perfectly followed by global M2 in 2017. Identical tariff policy and the same type of administration. Dollar had the same response. The same was true for the markets. Again, don't expect these to be flawless, but do anticipate this to begin to happen once more. If this is true, M2 will continue to rise throughout the year. If so, riskier assets like tech and cryptocurrency will perform well throughout the year. Global M2 is another way to look at it. For a while, it sort of consolidates. Crypto winter and crypto spring are often those times. As summer approaches, there is a breakout in M2 followed by a retest. The breakout and retest have occurred. And what takes place is phase 1 correction of the banana zone usually occurs after that retest. In September, October, and November, we began the banana zone. After that, we begin fixing. We keep making corrections before taking off once more. That's the only thing to aim for. It's quite typical. It's unfolding like a very normal cycle. The business cycle is the other factor that propels everything. You see, the state of the economy, liquidity, and other factors all influence the business cycle. However, this is how companies operate. When things become easier financially, the economy is beginning to grow, according to the ISM survey above 50. The government sector has been the main driver of the recent robust economic growth. However, Trump and Bessent have stated once more that they are adamant on the private sector taking over. They are expressing their desire for the ISM to increase. They want normal enterprises in the private sector to start growing. Bitcoin is also driven by ordinary businesses growing. Raoul is